All right. Welcome, welcome. Thank you for coming on the show. How are you?
Thank you for having me.
Eleni. It's Eleni, isn't it?
Yes, that's right. You pronounce it correctly.
How does your mum say it? Because it's always different.
So Eleni. No, it's the same. Eleni. Yeah.
Yes. Some people look at me and they're like, I went to a school with not many ethnics and my name is Marilyn, but obviously my mum is South American. So they say Marilyn. But it's not, it's very beautiful, but try telling.
No, it's the same with my daughter. So her Greek name is Xenia. So like, which in the Greek language, we've got the x, the sound, but in English, they pronounce it more like although you spell Xavier with an X, people say Xavier. So everyone calls her Xenia. And I said, Xenia, you need to change their mind. You need to show them and tell them exactly how they say it.
Well, how do you get someone to go Xenia?
Yeah, exactly. Like, even, no, but like, I said, just, produce a snake, like Xenia.
And every time you got to pick a name, I know that when I had kids, I was like, hang on, I like a name, but we need to know what the nickname is going to be because they're going to be nickname.
Okay. No, we don't have that. I guess we weren't traditional anyway, but we don't really have, I guess if it's a long name, then you'll say, a nickname, but nah, we went traditional. Like my first one was my mum, then the second one was my mother-in-law. That's
it. Fair, equal. Oh my goodness. Do you want to let the listeners know who you are, your page and what you predominantly do?
Oh yeah, so my name is Eleni, as we said already. So I've got a food blog called My Family's Food Diary. It is based on a lot of Cypriot traditional food, which is where we're from, but it also has other family recipes that we enjoy eating. I started the blog 4 years ago now, and it started as a hobby, I guess, to begin with. After my second one was born and I was home and I had a bit of spare time when she was sleeping a lot. And then it just sort of, it took on from there on. It took different directions. I didn't really have a direction when I first started, but I just wanted to have a space where I have all my recipes stored, unlike my mum's, which had handwritten recipe books in which she handed down half done, half
no method.
Just no method. Exactly right. And so I sort of thought, you know what, it will be a treasure for my daughters as well growing up. It's a reference for me too. Sometimes I don't really measure usually. If I was to cook without me cooking for the blog specifically to measure, I just do whatever. So now everything's there, stored in the clouds, and it's become a really popular reference, especially among young Cypriots over time, because a lot of people want to learn now, and they've either lost their grandparents and they can't get taught from them, or their mums don't have that time to show them, etc. So it's become a reference point for a lot of people, which is nice to see.
I feel like there is definitely that urge and want for people to go back to their roots and learn. There are a few pages as well that really infuse that, but then, because like you said, it's never really measured, and some people cooking intuitively it just doesn't come to them. Like for me,
No.
Prior to ever recipe developing or anything, I never measured, never measured.
Yeah, exactly.
So it was kind of like a good starting point to actually remember. Because sometimes, I've got a spice drawer. I just go in there and I'm like, whatever. And sometimes I'm like, what did I put exactly? So it's like a really good, list, because I was starting to become like my mum and not actually write. And if I wanted to kind of recreate it or improve it or whatnot, I needed a reference point. But I'm definitely noticing a lot of people wanting to go to their roots or having sort of, that infused into some modern way of cooking that's adaptable to, time poor families. They sort of want to understand and learn how spices and herbs work together and how they can kind of infuse that flavor into, weeknight meals.
And I mean, you can take a chicken and you can get chicken fillets and change them around just by using different spices. So I can learn in a combination or what you like also, but spices and herbs just make the meal.
Absolutely, absolutely. That's something that, like you want to, I'm like, okay, if the ingredients list is long, then I kind of like, okay, the method has to be quite easy. But if the method is quite, process, like it has to be quite minimal in ingredients. I don't know, there's some sort of like a little balance there. But do you want to let people know a little bit about the difference between maybe Cypriot kind of not cooking, or maybe flavors and types opposing to Greek? Because there is a bit of a difference, isn't there?
Yeah, there is. I mean, Cyprus is very close to Greece, but it's also close to Lebanon. Turkey's on top, Egypt's on the bottom, and it's become a gateway for a lot of different cultural food, as it was also occupied by a lot of different countries over the last, how many years. And so we've had a lot of influence from those, a lot of Middle Eastern influences in our cooking, a lot of common dishes with the Middle East as well. I guess, for example, I guess if I was to take a dish, I'll say dolma, which is like the vine leaves wrapped, the mixture, the rice mixture wrapped in vine leaves. So in Greece, you'll see it most of the times, you'll see it just vegetarian, so rice with herbs, whereas in our case, we use pork mince, rice, tomatoes in the mixture. The Middle East, they'll have that with lamb mince instead of pork mince. So we borrow each other's, but there are some differences, definitely.
Yeah, I definitely see that, because I think my mum was saying, I was chatting with her and I was like, oh, I'm going to have on the podcast, girl, she's from, she's Cypriot and whatnot. And my mum was like, oh my God, when my grandma went over, I don't know, to Venezuela, because my mum's South American, but my dad is Middle Eastern. But my grandma went over by boat to South America, blah, blah, blah. And she's like, we had to go by boat. And she said, went on the Italian boat. She goes, I was, because obviously it would have taken months, or I don't even know how long to get to the location. She goes, we went on the Italian boat. She's like, I was sick of eating pasta every day. She's like, I was sick of it. I needed something. So then she got the Greek boat. And I was like, but was it Greek or was it Cypriot? She goes, she loved it. She goes, because it was very fresh and very similar, because her descent was Middle Eastern as well. So she's like, it was very similar to us. It was very like similar kind of thing, but different, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Spices or kind of meal.
Correct. Yeah, so you've got your vegetarian, you've got your fresh ingredients. It's not very, I mean, the Mediterranean diet is not very heavily on meat. There's fish, there's a lot of vegetables. And so, yeah, the focus is also on seasonal. So I guess obviously on the boat, it's a very different situation. But yeah, not as many pasta dishes.
Definitely not, and just fresh, simple but very good quality and stuff. Do you feel like when you started your blog and recipe developing, were you very much learning how to do the authentic, or were you already like were seasoned, you knew how to kind of make it, but you kind of wanted to prove, or were you
I mean, there's some dishes that I never tried, and I got into contact with some people, but overall, because I lived in Cyprus for 15 years, so I grew up with my mum up until a certain age, and then my aunties, and so my mum passed away when I was 12, and so after that, I had about 3 years in Cyprus before we moved here, and every time I was 12, so I was able to cook by myself. Every time I wanted to cook something traditional or something I've never done before, I would call my aunties and ask, how do I make this? And they would teach me over the phone. A fair few failures, but we got there in the end. And I guess I learned through my aunties, and I learned by watching when I came here, family, friends. Instagram has been a really great spot as well. There's a lady called Hiro and Galatia as well, who are in Cyprus. They have their own TV show, cooking show. We connected on here, and Hiro is such a genuine soul with so much knowledge on Cypriot traditional food. I had to take some photos for the Ministry of Tourism last year, actually, in Cyprus.
Yeah.
And they requested a dish which I'd never heard of before, never made. And so, in that instance, I spoke to Chriso, she told me, and I found, she goes, we made it on the show this time, go find it. I saw it and I made it.
Sometimes you just got to see it, right? Like I think Instagram and social media in general has been really good for visual learning, because people kind of learn and eat with their eyes as well, because sometimes you're trying to explain, sometimes you give someone the quantity or the measurements, but there's so many variables. So you want to kind of see the texture. Yeah. Yes. So I think that's where it's kind of really helped a lot. Exactly. And did you nail it?
I did. I liked it. I mean, I hadn't tried it before from anyone else, but I liked what I made.
Do you generally just stick to Cypriot food, or are you now branched out, or you kind of just?
I think traditional is more my go-to. I mean, I like, noodles, and I like my Vietnamese, but I'm not gonna. It's not something that I would. I mean, I want it to be authentic. So if I was to put something on the blog, if I made it myself and I made it my own way, then I'll add that. But I am always very conscious of the fact that if you want to make a traditional dish that is not from your culture, you want to make sure it is as authentic as you can. You get advice from people from that culture as well. Otherwise, it's not something I want to have on the blog if it's not something that's, created, it's authentic enough for me.
I think that your brand definitely is all about tradition and authenticity. And I love that. And I love that you just, that and you stick to that. And it definitely, I think that's what makes you kind of stand out when you jump on your page and online, because there's so many people that are cooking Greek kind of meals or Cypriot, meals, but, sometimes I just can't handle the viral shit going on at the moment as well now. Like,
I think the one that topped it for me during lockdown was the feta, the baked feta pasta. It was like, I didn't even do it. Feta for so long, and I actually on the 14th of June, it was World Feta Day.
It was, yeah.
So I did a recipe, but using the baked feta, but not with pasta, because that's not how we make it. We usually, traditionally, we bake feta ourselves anyway as a meze kind of dish. And I just kept on going online just to look at the background story of this TikTok trend. I was like, how did this, turn into a trend?
Do you know where it freaking started? Like,
I can't remember the girl's name. I have it linked on the blog because I used some of the information from her blog, so I linked it to hers. I can't remember her name now. It's on
but some of them are just disgusting. Like I saw the other day pasta with ice cream. Yeah, no.
The other one, the worst one, was the coffee with orange juice. I was like,
yes,
it does orange juice and coffee.
There's a line. I can't sell my soul to the devil, I say. It just cannot happen. And I was like, I'll stay boring. And when any of you guys wake up, you're more than welcome to cook my normal.
Yeah.
I love that.
I know. But I think at the same time, I mean, it's great to be experimental, but using flavors, that work well together. For example, in January, the last 2 years, actually, I've had this idea of celebrating Australian food. I mean, we live in this beautiful country. We've given so many opportunities. And the week leading up to Australia Day, I've come up with different recipes around, I guess, the Australian culture. One of them was like little pavlovas with passion fruit, or I made a Lamington crepe cake with both flavors. So I mean, you can get creative. You can't, you can trend, but as long as things make sense.
Yes. If it's flavors that work or a method that works, I'm down for it. Yeah. I do love fusion. I personally love fusion. There's a guy that I follow, he's called Simon Love. I've interviewed him on the show as well. His page is Bag to Bowl. And he's at the moment just showing a lot of focaccias because I've recently started baking sourdough. And I know people are going to be like, oh God, one of those ones.
I tried. Nah, it didn't work for me.
I'll have to teach you. Very easy. I'm not professional, but it works. So he's got to teach me how to make focaccia with the starter. But anyway, and he did a cheeseburger focaccia. it wasn't disgusting in the sense of like sloppy. It was very like, it was the pickles with a little bit of the mustard, but it looked good.
Oh,
And
you mean so a focaccia bread, like a
focaccia
rectangular
bread
focaccia bread with
the
cheese?
toppings, with a little bit of mince. He
Okay.
obviously seasoned the mince,
Yeah.
sauteed, browned it, and then just put, not stodgy overload.
Spicy.
But I just am like, oh my God. And then he did a kimchi, a focaccia. I mean, it works. You know what I mean? Like some things that I'm like, it kind of can make sense. I would want to try that. But some other things I'm like, but I know some people are dead set against any kind of fusion, but I'm okay as long as
I mean, I think with the cheeseburger focaccia, for example, I mean, you still have to have bread with your burger. So like that's sort of, it's just a different idea of how to use it. It's, yeah.
I just love that. I think that's what I love about social media. Are you on Instagram, TikTok? Like, where are you on?
Instagram and Facebook. TikTok, I sort of, well, look, first of all, everything needs time, and it's not something I don't have a lot of free time. So I just do what I can. Instagram, and then obviously Facebook is more like, if I post the same thing on Facebook, I'm not going to,
is it your personal
I have
page?
a page for, but it just directly links on there. I can't say I spend excessive amounts of time on Facebook. Probably I'm mostly on Instagram more than anything, on the stories, which again link to Facebook. So it's organic rather than, and from what I've seen, TikTok has all these nasty comments all the time, and just
I actually went viral on TikTok, but not like, I'm not famous or anything like that. I don't have a private jet yet or anything. So no, but I just repurposed one of, like, again, if I have time to repurpose, I'll save the video that I share on Instagram. And if I have a bit of time, I will repost it. And I think it was my like Chinese chicken and corn soup, and it just went gang. But I tell you, some of the comments, I was mortified. I was like, who would even say that
to people? Because I don't think you can build the same type of relationship that you can on Instagram. And it's just, people can just go jump on there and think that they can just say whatever they want. And I just, from what I've seen from other people, just nasty, really nasty comments.
Look, there's a lot of nice comments, but the nasty ones are so nasty that you don't even, like, for me, you just glide over the nice comments. And they do now have stories. I mean, I don't know, I'm saying now, but maybe for a long time. I feel very geriatric on there, but they've got stories, so it's like pretty much like Instagram. I definitely see a bit of a flow-on effect. So because I think on TikTok, you've got the link to the Instagram. So I did see people, if they started following me, like flow over to Instagram, which doesn't necessarily mean much, because we all know followers doesn't always equivalent to anything. But unfortunately, do you feel that though, like with social media, that generally speaking, you kind of get judged or bagged by the amount of followers? Do you feel that way?
Not really. I mean, I've seen so many people that have amazing careers. They're just on here just, as another means, but they don't have the numbers, but they have great careers, and they do amazing things. No, I don't think so. I just find with what's been happening lately though, which gets me upset. Although they say you shouldn't care about likes and comments and whatever. It's not about the number for me, but it's more about the engagement. Like
I'm with you.
a couple of years ago, I would have so many conversations, so many comments, and you would build that relationship. I think that's what I like. You're getting to know your community, they're getting to know you. And recently it hasn't been happening. And I know maybe because I took some time off.
I'm on there all the time.
I don't know what's going on, but it's not the same.
It's not. There's something whacked out with I just think that's what's kind of difficult, because I know sometimes you got to change. But when you really like a platform and you really devote your time to build that connection, because that's what it's about, and that's what food's about. It's really about connecting with people from all places, as though they're on your dinner table, you're cooking for them, you're serving them, and that's what I love about Instagram. But it's just, really difficult when you do kind of spend your time on there and then all of a sudden, like, people don't say anything, and I'm thinking, sometimes you're like, if you're competing against TikTok, like not us, but Instagram and that, just do your own thing. You know what I mean? That's been a common thing that I'm noticing with a lot of people, but I think this is what it comes down to. It's really important to kind of build your website, and have that, and not just build a brand or a business, whether it be a hobby or not, that, just on a platform, because you just don't know what happens. And then at least we've got this, all our recipes on the website,
It's so true. Like the other, a few months ago now, when Instagram just shut down. For like 24 hours, and everyone went, get your mailing list, get onto a mailing list, don't, focus on your blog. But it just has to be. Otherwise, without it, a lot of people have said, without Instagram, what's your business like? What's your backup? Because Instagram might not be there, or they might change. Like, they can do whatever they want with their business at the end of the day. Exactly. You're just on it. You're not paying. You're just on it. So, and the fact now that it's no longer so much a still image, everything has to be emotion on Instagram. It's one of the girls, one of the other sort of bloggers, a couple of weeks ago, she posted an image one day. It reached, let's say, 2,000 people. She posted the same food, but as a reel, it reached 20,000 people. I was like, how? Like, why? When did Instagram become about videos? It's just, it's, so you just have to, like you said, you just have to go with it, go with times, but it's forever changing though, which is it's very hard.
Really hard. And I think for us, content, like, recipe developers, content, whatever you want to call us, all those labels, which irritate me, but it's a lot of work. I mean, for me, if I'm doing a recipe, writing it out, uploading it to the blog, doing the reel, the edit, the caption, 5-6 hours.
Poor, at least, like edit, and that's without distractions.
That's what I was about to say. That's me working with no children, but if it's 3 days or something, but no,
it's a long time. And people, you might post something, where's the recipe for this? Why don't you do this? I was like, guys, just, I'm not getting paid to do this. I'm doing it out of,
love,
because I love doing it. I want to share it with you. Just calm down. Like, let me breathe. It's not my thing. It's not, I work, I have kids, I have,
I think that's also like really difficult as well sometimes. I do have some listeners here that are mainly foodies as well, that are passionate like us. And I think that just speaking about our struggles, because sometimes how we show up, we show up and we're delivering the content, but the other side of it that we don't always vocalize, is the struggles, and is sometimes feeling a little bit like, what's the point? And also now, because there's so much out there, it's like saturated. It feels like you just have to give. And unless I'm giving, because there was a point where it's like, if you're going to grow or for your business, you should be posting every day. Now, to do a reel every day, to give a recipe, for me, is not achievable. And I had to come to terms with that. And I think there was a point where I was like, I felt really bad. I was like, you should. I'm like, no, you make the rules, you do whatever. And I can only like maybe 3 a week. That's if it's sometimes, and even then I'm like, sometimes it's not even a recipe, it's just a reel. But it's really, really difficult. And that constant having to do more. And it's like, oh my goodness, it's overwhelming, isn't it?
Yeah, and I think you're right though. You just have to come to terms with it. For like, everyone's situation is different. For example, I see this lady who doesn't work. She just has the kids drop off, pick up, and then she's got a side business, whatever, with what she's doing. But her time is way different with mine, so she can afford to do reels and recipe posting every day. I can't. I work 4 days a week. I've got the kids the other day anyway, so my day off. And you just have to work your own pace. Like you said, you just have to come to terms with it, because first of all, competing is it's not something that you should be, doing on Instagram. We're all there. There's enough content. There's enough, organizations that you can work with. But at the same time, you just have to come with terms to the fact that you cannot be the same person as someone else who's posting every day if your situation is different. Like, you just can't. And so that was very stressful, even for me, like looking at people posting every day. I was like, I can't. That was one of the reasons lately that I had to completely
take a break,
log off, because it just, although I love being that, I just had too many other things on my mind. It's like, I can't focus on this. I can't look at this. I can't engage. And I just logged off.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's very difficult. And I also think that sometimes I would, and again, not because it's competitive, but because and like, I obviously follow accounts because I want to have them on the podcast to have these open conversations. So I do follow people, but sometimes I'm like, you don't really know the background of everything. And I kind of started last year, but it was lockdown. So it was very just, and not very focused as well, just very just giving recipe, but not clear, or I didn't really have many.
Have a directional.
Well, I just wanted to kind of feel it as well, because sometimes, even though you love posting stuff, I was like, what if I don't like the connections? What if I don't like the questions? Because it's not just about, oh, hey, because I was doing a little bit of tips on like cleaning hacks or whatever, and I just started to get really irritated with the questions, really irritated with people being like, that's wrong, you don't do this, you shouldn't use it. It's like, it's not wrong, it's just, that's how you do it.
It's how you make it.
And I just was like, okay, at least I had a taste of that, so I definitely know that I don't want to do a lot of that stuff. But yeah, I just thought this year I was kind of more clear, but I was like, okay, what are you going to do? What is actually achievable with the time that you have, and to work towards your kind of goals? And that took a massive load off my shoulders in terms of like, well, then there's no point of doing that much, because it's not really, there's really no point. I don't enjoy doing that. I'm not going to do it. And just being very just clear and simple, but also not comparing to people who, for example, started a blog 5 to 10 years ago, because back then it was very different. It was not saying that it doesn't exist, but I was like very SEO driven, which I still think is important, but also they just focused on that. They just focused on the blog. They just focused on improving their photography skills. And I think they were more into Pinterest. I think I've heard Pinterest has changed a bit. I mean, are you on there? I'm not really on there. I don't know about it.
Again, it just happens organically through the website. It just automatically pins it, but I don't. There's a lot of settings and things that, it's another area. It's a whole other area that you need to learn, which is, I think this is why it's so, people don't know that. People don't understand how much work a blog or how much work any other page takes, because yes, there's the SEO, there's the food photography. You don't want to put blurry photos on there. You want to take them and make them appealing. You want to edit them. With Pinterest, how those I don't know, all these what are they called on the website? There's terms, like you have to just little words.
Keyword search.
Yeah, those keywords, and I was like, it's something that if I was to go back 4 years, I would say to myself, bloody invest, so you don't have enough, all that time wasted trying to figure it out yourself. Invest in a course for your photography, invest in a course for your blogging, invest in a course for the Pinterest, and just get started straight away. Because I mean, I don't even 4 years later, and I'm just playing it by ear because I just haven't had that time to sit down and do it myself. But you just learn, you hear what people say and whatever, but there's just so much information you can't possibly research. You don't know what you're researching. You know what I mean?
Exactly. It's hard, but I kind of was like, okay, I kind of bagged it. I was like, you either do the SEO and that and do it well, but you can't be doing that as well as all these reels, because if I'm comparing to myself, a lot of these people built their following, their page, their traffic, and now they have ads on there on SEO, and now they're kind of servicing that and they're getting paid right, from an income from ads. So they can spend the time maybe revisiting some earlier recipes and recreating them on the reel. But when you're establishing in a time like now, I'm like, what's to me, what suits my personality? What yeah. And the thing is, I think it's also really daunting when someone doesn't want to do videos. It's very difficult sometimes as well. So,
but it's a lot of big bloggers also, they hire other people to do things.
That's correct. Yeah.
So it might look, you know, that they're doing everything, or it might look easy, but they're still spending that time, that the money, obviously, because they want to keep building. So yeah, definitely it's a huge project.
I think so too. So we just got to stay in our own lane and
choose, like you said, what are your goals? What are your short-term goals? What are your long-term goals? And just work through that. So each to their own.
Exactly. And being true to your brand. Okay. I'm going to hit you with some meal suggestions. All right. What are your go-to at the moment that you are loving weeknight meals for, like, really time poor family? I recently saw one of your ones. I think you're going to probably say it, which looked freaking amazing. I'm time poor. I'm working. I don't want to get takeaway. What's one of your recipes? It's like, you have to make this because it's mind blowing.
Oh, I think the one that my family loves, regardless of how many times I might make it in a week, is the chicken Hiro. So it's basically chicken thigh fillets marinated, as we were talking before about this beautiful spices. Turns it into a delicious meal, bake it, and then you make it into the Hiro that we know, the spit on the meat. But you bake it high temperature in the oven. It's ready in 30 minutes, 25 even. Cut it up into wraps, and then
what do you stuff your Hiro with? What do you put in your wrap?
Usually you don't put lettuce. Usually,
traditionally
you don't. But my kids love it, so we'll put lettuce, tomatoes, cucumbers, yogurt, just plain yogurt. You don't have to make tzatziki. You can if you like, but yeah. And at the same time, you can even bake frozen chips in the oven and then add them in there too. So it's just, that's definitely one of them. Tray bakes, I love tray bakes. Again,
yep.
Marinating chicken from the night before, and all you have to do is just put everything together when you come home. So what I found this year especially, I have a new role at my work, so it's been a lot more busy than any other time. So I literally have to prep or cook dinner
the night before.
Yeah.
So I have to. Do you meal plan?
Yeah. So at the start of the week, I'll write up my list of what I want to make in a day, write up my shopping list, go to the shops, and take it from there.
Do you have any tips for, like managing all that and stuff? Like, because I find for me, I'm like, I meal plan usually Wednesday, Thursday, like for the following week. And then for me, groceries is Friday, because the weekend.
That's my day off too.
I kind of give myself, how about that? I give myself, like, just I have to reward myself to do that. But for Fridays, I like to have the groceries done, clean the fridge, have it stocked up, because weekend, the kids are going to be, even if we're going out, there's still going to be in between snacks. Like, they're just snack monsters. So, just having that all. And then when I go into Monday for the working week, whatever it may be, I already know tonight's this. So the night before, if I need to defrost something, take it out, pre-marinate it, I just know it's all done. What do you do? Like, I also think for me, do you feel like sometimes people pick the wrong choice of meal for the wrong evening? Meaning extracurricular activities, maybe don't do a risotto.
Yeah. I mean, and that's what, so there's a few different factors when I'm thinking about a meal. One, do I need to make a dish this week so I can take a photo of for the blog? Then two, what are the activities we're doing? So most of the nights, my kids don't have those activities. I have it at the end of the week. So it's pretty easy. We just sort of pick them up from school. It's just more about my meetings after school. So I am a school teacher, but most of the days we do have meetings after school. So what time will I get home? How long will I have to cook the meal? And also balance between the type of food. So I'll definitely plan for at least one day red meat, one day chicken, and then hopefully one day fish, whether that's salmon or which is very easy to cook as well, bake 17 minutes and it's done. Fish fillets, and then of course then the lentils or your black eyed peas, your beans. So I guess I try to include all the food groups. That's the next thing that I'm thinking about. And then the specials. So I've recently got onto this app called Supermarket Swap.
Yes, I need to get on to that. I've actually reached out to, what's her, I forgot her name. Nabs. She seems so lovely.
Yeah.
I haven't heard back, so did you email her to get in contact with her? Is that the best way?
Yeah, there's an email called support email.
I might email her to get her on the show, because that app looks amazing. It's all in one, isn't it?
It's all in one, and it's been improving since I bought it. She's been doing all these updates as well, so you pay 1 year subscription, but it's been great because I've been able to see all the additive free products, and then products that are on special, and then I went through that the other day. I did that and I saved $60, like,
oh my God,
$60 on things that I saw the special. So that my meal plan that week was pretty much what's on special, what can I make with those things.
Great.
And I knew it was good products. I was able to get some snacks as well for the kids, which is great. The app has all these different products on there.
Yeah.
And it also has a lot of information about the additives. So if I see a number that obviously I don't know numbers, so I go on the app, I search that, and I say, okay, it's red, that means avoid completely.
Kids go really rogue with that. My son in particular, like if I haven't noticed, or like it's always at birthday parties, isn't it, when he's eating everything?
Yeah, definitely.
He actually turns into another person. I've noticed that. Yeah.
And there's some that she clearly says that this will initiate that hyperactivity in kids. So it's crazy the amount of things that they're allowed to put in these products. But yeah, so that's basically the meal plan. So depending on the blog, the specials, I
and
definitely
got recipes in there as well. I saw that she has recipes.
She started to have more, yes. Yeah.
I think that's a great idea, to have like contributor recipes, so that you can, especially for seasonal things or things that are like slow cooker meals now, like here we are in winter. Yeah. So that's really, really good. Okay, I'll reach out to her. I think she'd be great for the show, because that's something that a lot of us mums and working women in general want to be conscious of. $60, that's insane, considering lettuce is lettuce still $10? I haven't gone this week.
I saw it the other day for $7, and then I had a bit of a win. Tomorrow I'm going to make stuffed capsicums, because I saw them for $3.95 a kilo. I was like,
wow.
And they were pretty firm. They weren't off or whatever. They were good quality, but it was just at the local grocer. I was like, done. Getting them.
I love it when they're in a net, because I'm like, yes, I'm going to roast them. I'm going to jar them with oil and garlic, because I love having that stuff to add in salads, on steak or chicken. It's always handy to have that kind of stuff. And I also think
the other way, I think once you go to the supermarkets, sorry to interrupt you, but once you go to the supermarkets, sometimes, like I did yesterday, I was so stuck because I'm going to have people for lunch tomorrow. And I was like, I was stuck. I needed one more meal. And so yesterday when I saw the capsicums on special, I'm like, oh, definitely I'm making them, stuffed vegetables with rice. Like, so you just walk around and you're just inspired by the ingredients. It's beautiful. I love it.
You have to. I think sometimes and also I think that meal planning sometimes is good, so that you're not wandering and then buying all the shit that you're not going to actually use, or half-assed meals.
Correct. I hate food waste.
Oh, I am so anti-food waste. Like, literally, the only time I will chuck something out is that if I've planned it and it's gone off from now till then. And I always try, if I'm doing stir fries or anything like that, I plan it more towards at the beginning of the week to use that bulk. And going through your pantry, having a look at things that, because I feel like Mediterranean cooking, we use a lot of pantry staples as well, because a lot of the dishes were built on peasant meals. I think just, just having tin lentils, tin beans, even sometimes like my parents have like a beautiful garden. I've got a concrete jungle here, but they give us fresh, some veggies. It's a bit slow at the moment for winter, but if they get an abundance of like silver beet spinach, I'll wash, chop, and I will freeze that myself just to use in a nice stew with like a slow cut meat's gone up too. I was like, why? This is cheap. Oh God. But anyway, so what's plans for you? What is something that you are excited about or just wanting to work on next, like your creative juices? What is your heart calling for?
I think short term. So we just moved into a house, and the house that we bought actually has a full-on studio at the back. I'm looking at it now, which I'm very excited to sort of set up and have it ready. I think the one thing, because all my photos are done with natural light, and the one thing I struggle with in winter is obviously the early darkness that happens, which it means I can't take a lot of photos after work. And so I want to try and get into artificial light a little bit, just make my life a little bit easier rather than me rushing to get things done and take photos during the day. So that's one thing. And then build the website, as we were talking before. I need to do a proper course to just revamp my existing posts as well. I have so many from 4 years ago. I'm looking at those photos. I was like, what made me think that this photo was okay back then?
We always do. In 1 year, today's photo will be hideous. I'm in a food photography group as well by Naomi Sherman. She's a amazing food photographer. She does
Tasmania, I think.
Yes.
I follow
her.
Her
course is she's so like ridiculously helpful. I have to say that I haven't dived too much in photography, just purely because, again, everything's really video, so it's that whole time factor. But her tips, and she's just fantastic. And she does a lot of food photography for Nourish magazine. Like, so she's like, I look at her stuff and I'm like,
yeah, she's an editor type. Yeah, she's amazing. I got her cookbook, actually, the one that she was it 2 years ago, I think.
Really good. So if you, and they were talking in the group the other week about artificial lighting, and like what to buy. I mean, it was all different language to me, but I think one day I'm a bit natural light. But another one is Food Blogger Pro. Have you joined that course before?
No, I haven't. I think I've seen it. Is it the one, I don't know, orange and blue? I think.
Yeah.
I think I've seen. Yeah, I don't know.
Pinch of Yum is his wife. And he's the kind of not brains, but like the tech side. So he started because she was like getting, I think her name's Lindsay from Pinch of Yum. She was getting lots of questions about, how did you do blah, 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 build a blog, blah, blah, blah. So I signed up, but admittedly, I haven't like done too much of the SEO part, but they've got courses on like SEO, like from beginners to just explain little things. I don't know. So
what is it? Suggestion. Yeah. Okay. Definitely. I'll look them up. Yeah. Okay.
I just feel like, I don't want to like always do things like SEO, like it doesn't spark joy to me. But what I've kind of learned is that I don't want to also palm jobs to people when I don't have a basic understanding of it.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yes, I agree.
Like, isn't that there's a bit of a misconception there? It's sort of like, if you don't know, just pay someone to do it. I just am like, that's not bad, but you also have to have an understanding so you find the right person and that you don't get ripped off, because, And
you want to know how, because that could also affect everything else. And if that person isn't available anymore and whatever have you, but by having a good understanding, then you know that what he's doing or what she's doing, then that might have a flow-on effect on what you might want to do next or whatever. So definitely have an idea. You need to have an idea, definitely.
I think so. Well, that went really businessy, didn't it? But I think it'll help. Sometimes you just got to go with the flow. I love these conversations, but I always ask my guests, what is your go-to CBF meal, like besides the Euros, because we kind of delved into that, but any new recipes? I think I saw your one tray. You had a one tray as well.
I think, just the one trays, or you said, it was funny, you said you made stir fries before at the start of the week when you have a whole lot of stuff. I'm the opposite. So I have noodles basically in the pantry, and then whatever leftover veggies I might have or whatever meat I have in the freezer, then that's probably one of those CBF meals, because it's just, you just throw everything in 15 minutes depending on what you're including, and it's done. Sauces, throw in, yeah, and the kids love it. So
My kids hate my food. I'm like, what did I do wrong? One day you'll appreciate me. Anyway, thank you so much for coming on the show. I really appreciate it. I love talking to you about food, about business, about struggles, ups and downs. But I think it's really good that we get on and just kind of have a chat to make people feel like everything is normal. Do not beat yourself up. And the mental load, because we're not only just worrying about business. We've got kids, we've got school, we got homework, you got reports, work, there's the washing and this and that. Even though we might have partners or husbands or the help, I feel like we bear the mental burden, shall I say?
Yeah, it was actually a story I put up a couple of weeks ago with one of the ladies. But yeah, definitely the mental load. But there are definitely a lot of things, but I guess the message is have your short-term goals, have an idea of what you want to do, and then just aim to do that and compete with yourself only, no one else. Just keep working.
I love it. Thank you so much for coming on the show. I appreciate
Thanks
your
for
time.
having me.
Do you want to let people know where they can find you? I'll put it all in the show notes, but your handles and your webpage.
Yeah, so both Facebook and Instagram is at My Family's Food Diary, and the website is myfamiliesfooddiary.com.
Easy. I'll put it on the show notes. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you.